Peace. Be still. Say the word, and I will set my feet upon the sea till I'm dancing in the deep. Peace, be still. You are here, so it is well. Even when my eyes can't see, I will trust the voice that speaks peace. So today, as we talk through peace during this Christmas season as part of the Advent, the whole Advent series, I'm just reminded of this song that we sing pretty often, just peace, be still. And the thing that really stuck out to me in thinking about this whole idea of peace is that the peace that we get from God doesn't take away chaos. It's peace that meets us in the middle of chaos. Like in this song, say the word and I'll set my feet upon the sea till I'm dancing in the deep. Like it's not like you're not surrounded by deep water. It's not like you're not still kind of feeling like you're drowning, but you are above the water. Like that's what peace is. It's giving you something stable to stand on even when things are absolutely chaotic. And really that's what this sermon series is about as we go through this #Advent thing and we look at these 4 different aspects of what Advent is: hope, love, peace, and joy. Those things aren't things that we just naturally get during Christmas. They're things that we need to press into Jesus for, right? And I think it's sometimes hard to do that. Sometimes we feel like we're forcing those things, We feel like because it's Christmas, we're supposed to be hopeful, we're supposed to be peaceful, we're supposed to love, all of those things. They can easily be forced if we just think we should do them because of Christmas. But at the end of the day, those things come because of Jesus, And really the Advent thing is something that was started in the Middle Ages as a way to remind people to set their heart on those things as Christmas happens. Because I don't know this for sure, but I can bet that Christmas has always been chaotic, I don't think that's just our culture. Have you guys ever been to an old school Christmas market? Has anyone seen one of those? So this is a huge thing in Europe where this whole area gets transformed into this Christmas market, and there's different drinks that you can get and different foods that you can get, and there's some places that have these weird Santa parades where Santa walks through town, but there's 50 of them. There's a whole bunch of weird chaotic things that have been happening for years. And even in the Middle Ages when this was happening, there was chaos during Christmas. There was all this stuff. We lived in England for a little while, and that was the first place I ever saw chestnuts roasting on an open fire. You guys know that song? Chestnuts roasting on an open fire smells like burning flesh. It is literally the worst thing you could possibly imagine. And walking through the streets of England with chestnuts roasting on an open fire, it was horrible. And I feel so much of Christmas is that. It's just chaos, it's just crazy, it's just nuts. And somehow we need to press into the peace of Jesus in the midst of something that is completely not peaceful, So let me ask you guys this question really quick. Just shout it out. What's your favorite holiday? Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter? All right. Christmas and Easter. Christmas, okay. What else? Alex, what do you got? Halloween, great. Tree Man?
I love them all.
You love them all. All right, Jim, what you got? Groundhog's Day. That's a new one. I love it. So Jim and I are kind of in the same boat, and I guess Ellie, my favorite holiday is one of the B-roll ones, it's not the main holidays. I'm probably going to get some pushback for this. My favorite holiday, hands down, not even a question, is Black Friday. Yeah, I know, exactly. I love Black Friday. Black Friday is my favorite holiday, partially because I love shopping, and getting a good deal just gets to my heart, it just gives you the warm fuzzies. I don't know what it is. I would rather pay more and think I got it on a discount than pay full price. I don't know why. It just feels like I cheated the system. It's just fun for me. And Black Friday has changed a lot, but does anyone remember how Black Friday used to be? Where all the stores open at midnight and all that? Okay, so yeah, I know Deshaun's like freaking out here. Like, it was different, man. It was different. Like, Black Friday used to be this thing where, like, Thanksgiving night, everyone would go out, and at midnight, like, as soon as Friday started, all the stores would open, and they'd be open until like 6 a.m. or 4 a.m., and then they'd close and reopen at 9 or whatever. And it was absolute chaos. Like, I remember I used to always go and get in line at Best Buy, and Best Buy would have like 500 people in line by 10 p.m. It was nuts because they did things like at Best Buy, they would sell a $1,000 TV for $100. And the first 10 people got this crazy deal, and then everyone else was just cold, just standing out there in the cold. I remember Guitar Center used to be like one of the best ones because anything you bought, you got a free pair of like drumsticks, like a $30 pair of drumsticks. So I'd buy like a pack of picks and get drumsticks, I love doing that kind of thing. Sam Goody was great. Does anyone remember Sam Goody? No, it was a music store. So you'd go and buy CDs, buy one, get 12 free or whatever. Like, it was like an infomercial. Sharper Image was great. You guys like that store? Has anyone ever been to that store? So it's like massage chairs and things like that. Like, it's the best. Like, you go in and you just sit in the massage chair and don't buy anything. That's why you've never heard of Sharper Image, because no one ever bought anything. But Target and Walmart, all these places would do these massive deals. Now, the funny thing is, like, I never had the $100 to buy the $1,000 TV. So I would go and I would stand in line for 2 or 3 hours and buy a $30 flash drive for $10 or something like that. It was not worth the money. It was not worth the time. For a little while when I was a teenager, I would actually take orders from people who weren't willing to stand in line, and I would charge them like 20% of what they saved. So they got an incredible deal, and then I would have some money to spend on stupid crap while I was there. It was not a good business plan, but everyone won. It was good. Yeah, it kind of worked. So why did I like Black Friday? Like, why would I love this day if I'm not going to buy anything anyway? Like, if I didn't have any real money? The reason was the chaos. And I know that sounds crazy. I'm learning now it's because I have ADHD and I thrive in chaos. I didn't know that. Thanks, therapy. But I just loved the chaos of all of it because for one day a year, everyone's mask is off. And if you are a terrible person, you are an especially terrible person on Black Friday, and you trample the kid to get into the store or whatever. Deshaun's looking at me like I'm nuts, but you guys know this used to happen. Like, all the time you'd hear about 10 people who were trampled on the way into Target or whatever. But also, every year I went on Black Friday, there was somebody who waited in line for hours that gave up their spot to some little old lady who just wanted to get something for their grandkids. And like, it's just the coolest thing where for one day, no one can fake it. If you're a good person, you're a good person. And if you're a terrible person, you're a terrible person, and everyone sees it. And like, I just loved the dichotomy between like the good and the bad. And it's kind of the same as like following Jesus and not. Like, people who don't follow Jesus, it's obvious. And when you're in the midst of that chaos, people who do follow Jesus, it's obvious. And I feel like it's the same kind of thing when it comes to peace during Christmas. Like, in the midst of absolute chaos, if you are the one person who's peaceful, everyone's like, what's wrong with that person? Like, in the midst of everything going crazy and everything falling apart, if you are the one who is solid, who is still good, who is still following Jesus, who is pressing into peace, everyone sees it. Because like Jesus even tells us this, Like, he even tells us this is how he wants us to act. In Revelation 3:15 and 16, it says, I know your deeds, that you are neither cold nor hot. I wish you were either one or the other. So because you're lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, I'm about to spit you out of my mouth. Yeah. So this is in Revelation of God talking to a church who is just like faking it. And God very specifically says, like, look, be for me or be against me, but this middle thing is ridiculous. This middle thing is not going to happen. Like, if you want to cuss me out, don't tell me you love me, cuss me out and we'll handle that, Like, that's what God wants from us. He wants us to be real. And then if you love me, obviously, like, that's great. Let's do that. That's the ideal one, but the middle is the worst. And we look at it like it's this sliding scale of if I'm, as long as I can fake it well enough to be in the middle, I'm okay. And really what Jesus says is, no, I want you to be real. I want you to be real at one end. And that's kind of, I guess, like the choice that we have during Christmas is if you fake peace, it will all fall apart. You know what I mean? Like if you fake being peaceful during Christmas, everything will be bad. It just won't work right. Think about like the craziness of Christmas, okay? Like as we go into Christmas, everyone is stressed out. Everyone is going through a lot. So everyone's stressed out getting presents. Everyone's nervous about money. It's like middle of December, so everyone's broke now, right? Like no one's got anything left. That's just where we're all at. Everyone is dreading their family being crazy. Like if you're anything like me, you've got the 10-day countdown where you're like, all right, the nut stuff happens in 10 days. We can do this, okay? Everyone has that crazy uncle who's always talking about the war, and you don't even know which one. Like the years don't add up, but for some reason you're there. Broken families are having to decide who the kids are going to be with. Like what time do I get the kids? What time do you get the kids? And that's just a huge struggle. And there's a Christmas party every 2 days for some reason because everybody needs to have a Christmas party. So there's your class, there's your work, there's your life group, your book club, your neighbors, your cousins, your sorority sisters you haven't seen in a decade. Everyone wants all of your attention all the time. It's just absolutely crazy. So how much more does the peace of God show in the midst of craziness during Christmas? And this is what Jesus says about peace. John 14:27 says, "Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled and do not be afraid." I love that phrase that God doesn't give us peace like the world gives us, He doesn't fake peace. He's never that lukewarm one in the middle. When God gives us peace, it's like actually peaceful. In the midst of chaos where you can't understand why you can still sleep when you have a baby screaming or whatever. Like, He brings us actual peace. And the thing I think I love about this verse is this verse doesn't say, "Be peaceful, I command you." It doesn't say, "Stop being crazy, choose peace." It says, look, you're not going to be peaceful. I'll give it to you, My peace I leave with you. And He actually says, my peace I give you. Like He's literally giving us the peace that He has within Himself because He is that peace. He is that anchor that holds us in peace. And He says, I will give that to you. So I think the question here then is, how do we press into that peace? Because that sounds really good on paper, but when it says, my peace I give you, and you're still chaotic, it could be very easy just to be like, well, God, you said you'd give it, and I'm not peaceful, So how do we get that? And I think the first thing is we need to remember that Jesus is a person. Like he's more than a person, He's God. But He also walked this earth, like He has a personality. He has like a character that we can connect with, right? And you don't just naturally get something from somebody because you look at them. You have to have a relationship with them. So I think the first thing to getting peace is just spending time with Jesus. It's really incredibly clear here in John that real peace only comes from Jesus. So if we're going to get that from Him, we have to actually spend time with Him. And that's the first thing I would encourage you guys to do is spend daily time with Jesus. Unless you only want peace 3 days a week and then do it every other day. Genuinely, that's the choice we have. You can spend time with God daily. You can be with Jesus and get that peace daily. Or we can just kind of skate along and hope we get enough peace on Sunday to get us to the next Sunday. Right? I think most of the time we leave this place feeling more peaceful, more together than we came. that is not enough for me to get to the next Sunday. And I work here, so there's way less peace for me here. Like, chaos needs peace to fix it. And going after Jesus is how we get that. So if you've never spent time with Jesus, if you haven't gotten in the habit of doing that daily, let me just encourage you guys, like, just start. Like, he wants time with you. You're not a burden. Like, he wants to be with you. And this isn't some, like, you have to do an hour to check the boxes to be a good Christian. That's that lukewarm thing we talked about. It's actually wanting Jesus. And if that means you get 5 solid minutes with him or 10 solid minutes with him, get that. If that means that you need an hour with him just to wipe the stuff away and just to be peaceful, then get the hour because you need him, right? If you've never done that, there's actually some really good resources. They're in the notes in the app if you want to look at that. You can also just go to our website, click on discipleship, and there's stuff on how to follow Jesus. One of those is Time with Jesus, that first one. I should encourage you to look at that. But really simply, if you've never done it before, just spend some time worshiping. Just pick a song, one of the songs we did on Sunday, sing that for a week, Just worship, just get your heart in the right place. Just get in Scripture, read the Bible. And I personally would rather read a few sentences that changed my life than try to read books and books and books and try to, prove that I've done something, Just read something that you can adapt your life to, and then spend some time praying. And when you do those things, when you really connect with God on a personal level, that's where peace comes from. The second thing I'll say is just go to God with your worry. Like, as you're dealing with all this stuff, as you're struggling, stop trying to hide it from God. It doesn't work. Stop trying to blame God for it. It doesn't work. Like, when we have this junk, Jesus says, read this again, peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give you as the world gives. Don't let your hearts be troubled and don't be afraid. He's literally saying, don't let your heart be troubled. Don't literally accept the fact that you're in chaos. Give it to him. And I'll be really honest here with you guys. I don't know why, but the last few sermons that I've had to preach have been the exact thing that I've been struggling with at that moment. I think it's some kind of sick joke that God's playing on me, or he loves me or something. I don't know, one of them. It feels like the sick joke one sometimes, though, when you're just this is the thing. And this is really hard for me right now, trying to be in peace. And if you guys came to our church gathering last week, you heard our budget and things that we're working through for this next year as a church. And we have no money as a church, which, look around, you knew that. But we're in a really rough spot financially. And I just feel the weight of that on my shoulders. And every day I wake up just God, what on earth are we going to do? Stressed out. For whatever reason, over the last couple months, I've just been personally attacked and had people just straight out making things up about me and slandering me behind my back. And that's a pretty normal thing with what I do, but the last couple months it's just really hurt. It's been really hard. We've got some pretty major issues in our family, our extended family. We have a family member that went back to drugs after years of being clean. We've got 3 family members that are dealing with really heavy health things where we don't know if they're going to make it and what they're dealing. There's just a lot going on. Autumn started a company a few months ago, which is going well, and we've actually had all our needs taken care of. But when you don't have a consistent paycheck, you're not sure if the next one's coming, which is hard. Which we've been blessed in that, but there's still that uneasiness, I've been put in just a lot of awkward situations in ministries that I serve where they're all kind of pulling me at different ways. And I just know a lot of you guys, a lot of people in our church have been dealing with really heavy things that we've talked about, that we've talked through. And when you pastor people, you carry the weight of some of that stuff with them. And I've just had that weight on me. And Nothing in my life over the last few months has been peaceful. Like, it's been the exact opposite of peaceful, to be honest. And I've kind of gone back and forth where, like, again, just being really open with you, like, my norm of dealing with this stuff is to hyperfixate on the problem and think about it so much until I just slip into depression and I'm just like a slave to that thing. And over the last couple of months, I've been like, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to live that way anymore. So I swung completely the other way to where I'm like, I can just ignore this and it'll go away. And like, I can just like hand it to God and he'll take care of it. And it's not mine anymore. And I think in the middle, there's a healthy ground that I'm still working to find. But like, on the one hand, if I'm pressing into depression and I'm like really hyperfixating on this stuff, what I'm saying is, God, please fix this. But what I'm doing is holding on to it myself and not letting him fix it. And then when I swing the other way and I ignore all the stuff going on and I don't really take it to him, I just kind of like push it off onto him and then try to walk away from it. And that's not what this is either, right? Like, he says, my peace I give you. He doesn't just say like there's peace for everything, walk away from it. Like, he wants to give us peace as we work through these things. And I think for me, I've been, especially as Christmas is coming and there's more chaos, like, I'm trying to find that healthy middle ground of how do I take this chaos and interject your peace into it? Like how do I take these things that I'm legitimately dealing with and give this stuff to you to take care of, and you work out the junk in me that caused some of it, and like how do I find peace in this? And I wish I had like here's my 10-step answer of how to do that. I don't know how to do that except Jesus. So to be really honest, like that's where I'm at right now, is I know scripture, like I know this is possible, but I'm still trying to figure out how to do it. So the only thing I can really say to you guys is like, join me in figuring out how to do this, right? Because I think if I look back at like the massive things in my life over the years, now I think those aren't that big of a deal, you know? Have you guys ever had something that was absolutely major and massive and all-consuming in your life, and then like a year later you look back and you're like, I'm through that, that's fine. Like, have you guys ever had that? Why can't we press into that in the middle of it? You know, like it's so frustrating when like hindsight is 20/20 and you're freaking blind right now. You know what I mean? So I think the only way to see through this, the only way to work through this is to bring Jesus into it while you're in it. It's that song again. I'll read that again from the beginning here. Peace, be still. Say the word, and I will set my feet upon the sea till I'm dancing in the deep. Like you're still struggling to stay above water. There's still ocean around you. There are still waves. But God brings us peace when we step out of it because he lets us step out of it. It's really easy to say it wasn't that big of a deal when you're in a boat again. But when you're still in the water, how do you press into peace? And then peace, be still. You are here, so it is well. Even when my eyes can't see, I'll trust the voice that speaks peace. You know, even when you're blind, even when, like I said, hindsight is 20/20. When you're in the middle of it, you're just in the dark. And the only way that we're going to bring peace to that is to bring Jesus into it. So the last thing I'll just say to encourage you guys is choose peace this season and share peace this season. And what I mean by that is like, I'll say I've done a lot of traveling. I've been to a lot of different cultures. And America is by far the most unhealthy culture when it comes to how we spend our time. Like by far. Have any of you guys ever been out of the country, been in a different culture for a while? A little bit? You know that like peaceful feeling that you get when you're just not in America? That's not because you're on vacation. That's because we suck at our calendars. Like really. Last week I preached this on the west side. And on the west side we have We had 6 or 7 people in the room who are not from America originally, who are from other countries. And I was like, man, America is just so fast-paced and we're so unhealthy. And one of the guys, Winston, who's from Kenya, was like, just like shaking his head violently. Because he's like, man, you step into America and your heart just starts beating faster. We need to realize that this is not the norm. This is wrong. like really, like our culture, there's a lot of things I love about our culture. This is one where we miss it. And we see how much we can pile onto our day and how much we can get through. And that's not saying that we should go to laziness and slothfulness on the other side. It's how do we do this with the peace of Jesus, not trying to go above and beyond. So I think part of this like pressing into peace, choosing peace and sharing peace is just like choosing to not run from one thing to another, you know? Leave 10 minutes early for work so that when you get to the parking lot, you can sit in your car for 5 minutes and not be 5 minutes late if you're me. Like, it's really good just to like work peace into our lives. And I'm not talking hours. I'm not talking days of nothing. I'm talking 5 minutes. Like sit in your car and just be like, okay, God, I need you in this. I need to choose peace in the midst of chaos. I'm about to walk in there and there's all the craziness of my family. We're like celebrating the holidays, or I'm about to go into work and everything's nuts and I know everyone's going to be mad at me. Like just sit and just be peaceful instead of hyperfixating on those things. And that means if you guys have kids, then wake up earlier than them. I know that's so hard. Or just like put a good lock on your door and lock that door, let them be chaotic in the other room and just take a minute and choose peace. Because if you guys who have kids, like you know, when you walk out and you are not peaceful, it takes this much for you to flip out and be like, guys, I'm so sorry. I went too far. I didn't mean to do that. Like, choose peace in that. Or maybe even just after your kids go to bed, don't just watch a movie. Spend some time and just like choose peace. Just be like, God, I need you right now. Like, I need to press into this. This is a really hard one, but I'm telling you, do this. As you get closer to the holidays, does everyone, you don't need to raise your hands, there's a camera in the room, it's fine. Does everyone have a family member that you're like, this person drives me nuts instantly? Yeah, you don't need to shake your heads, I know. So as you step into the holidays, figure out how you're going to respond to them ahead of time and choose peace. Because you know they're going to cut you off at the knees and say something that hurts. You know that they're going to criticize every single thing you do. You know that they're just going to be too much or whatever, or you've got a friend or whatever. Like, we all have that because we're people. So how do you go into that peaceful? Just by saying, God, this is going to happen. Help me respond rightly. I'm going to respond with love regardless of what they do. I'm going to be joyful no matter what chaos is coming. I'm going to walk into that place peaceful. God, I can do this. We can do this. And just ask him to move in that. There's so much, I think, that we try to fill this void with, you know, and we listen to calming music, or we like put essential oils everywhere. No one even knows what that is. Like, there's like, yeah, Deshaun legit doesn't know what it is. It's a white people thing, man. Don't worry about it. It really is. Like, I'm not white enough for essential oils. Like massages, I know, are one thing people keep going to. I know people like will go back to that show and binge watching it to escape reality. Like, there's so many things that we do, that I do, to try to find peace. And it doesn't work. So why would we keep trying it? Jesus is the only one that brings us peace. He's the only one that will ever calm our souls. So we need to go after him. And I think a part of this too is sharing that. Because remember how I started at the beginning talking about Black Friday? In In the absolute chaos of Black Friday, when everyone is selfish and everyone is doing their own thing and everyone's mad at everyone else for not doing what they want, when there is one kind person, it changes everything. And if you can be the peaceful person during Christmas, it will change everything. If you can be the one who's pressing into Jesus no matter what's going on, it will change everything for the people around you. And even as we look at this series, looking at social media and how we represent Jesus, what if in the middle of the chaos, in the middle of everyone complaining about everything Christmas and saying all the things they saw in the news and there's drones over New Jersey, we're all going to die. What if in the midst of all that chaos, you were the peaceful one who's like, guess what Jesus did in my life? I think that would change everything. So as our worship team member comes back up, I want to point out, just kind of fold and tear off the card. Did everyone get one of these? Does anyone need one? Alex, can you grab some for people? Probably just grab a stack. Yeah. So for this series, our next steps are really simple. They're just social media challenges to represent this thing on social media. If you don't have social media, text people. That's fine. Everyone's got a phone. So the first thing, the easier one, is I'll write a post encouraging people to press into peace during a busy season. So that can be as simple as, hey, I had this issue. I spent time with Jesus, and I'm feeling so much more peaceful. I'd encourage you to do the same. Something simple like that. The second one, the medium one, is I'll share a worship song that brings me peace and explain why it helps me. I kind of did that inadvertently at the beginning of this sermon, but like hearing peace in the midst of chaos just reminds me that my life doesn't have to be chaotic. So share that. And the third thing, the hard one, is I'll fast from social media for a few days to press into peace and share my experience at the end. A couple of years ago, I did a 2-month social media fast where I just cut out from everything and just kind of like stopped talking to everybody. And we were on a sabbatical in Thailand, so it made it a little bit easier. But that season taught me a lot of things. And when I came back to social media, I realized how beautiful it can be and how good it can be connecting with people in the right way. But I also learned that I was getting a lot of my validation and a lot of my peace from that. And I was landing in that lukewarm middle ground of like, if I read good things and encouraging things, I felt encouraged. And if I read bad things, I felt anguish or whatever. And like, my emotional up and down went with what I read on Facebook, which is so terrifying, you know? So I just want to encourage you guys, if you are in a place where you're DEFCON 5, I need peace right now, I need to fix this, I'd encourage you just step away for a few days. And then at the end of it, come back and be like, hey, this is how I found peace in Jesus in the midst of this time. So fill out this card front and back, and at the end, we'll put it in the box on our way out. But hopefully this has been encouraging to you. Even just that, like, I don't know what I'm doing. Hopefully that's encouraging to you. That I don't know how to be peaceful a lot of the time, but I do know the source of it. I know that it comes from Jesus and Jesus alone. So I think if we can press into him, if we can go after him, it really will change everything for us. So let me pray for us. Let's stand up, do one more song, just to worship God in this season and be thankful. Because, man, there's so many things to be thankful for. And it's easy to just feel like the wind is taken out of our sails and things just aren't the way they used to be and that kind of thing. But, man, no matter what is happening in our lives, no matter what chaos is happening, God's still there to bring peace. So, Lord, I don't even know what else to say except thank you. I think sometimes we really wish that things were the way we wanted them to be, and we struggle with extreme hardship, feeling alone, feeling like just nothing is happening, like there's no momentum anymore. It's easy to feel like there's nothing but momentum and things are just crazy and I'm going from one thing to another, but still nothing's actually happening. But Lord, we know that you're your offer here still stands, that you bring us peace. You know, that this is a promise to us that when we come to you, we get peace. You say, peace I leave with you. Thank you for leaving peace with us, for dropping it in our laps and giving it to us. My peace I give you. Lord, I thank you that you give freely that which is your character. I do not give to you as the world gives. Lord, thank you that you don't give us counterfeit peace, that you don't give us 5 minutes of silence, you give us actual peace in the midst of non-silence. Do not let your hearts be troubled and do not be afraid. And God, I just pray that over our whole room right now, that the things that are troubling us, that we'd hand to you and not try to handle ourselves. God, that we wouldn't be afraid of what's coming or what's happening, and that we would press into you in the midst of that chaos. Jesus, keep bringing us peace, because we got nothing else without you. Thank you for who you are. Give us more. We just want more of you and less of us, Lord Jesus. Amen.